Okay, good afternoon again, and welcome to Affairs of State. Sorry for the delay here, but I'm glad that you are able to join me today. And today we're here to discuss financing. But specifically, in regards to financing, we're going to talk about budgeting. And in this budget issue, uh, as African Americans, we love to look good. When we go out, we want to look our best. We want to make sure we have the best of the best, and we have no problems paying for what the best is. But the only problem with that is we run into issues where we spend more than what we have. And because of that, there are all sorts of problems. And there are all sorts of things that's wrong with that picture. And because of that, this is one of those areas where we really do have to really take in consideration what we're doing as a community and what we're actually doing to our families, because now we're saddling our families with our debt. And the reason why I say that, because death death is an inevitability. It's Eventually we will all die. Now the question is, do we want to saddle our family with our debt? Do we even want to saddle our family with our burial? That's one of those areas that we may not think of, but unfortunately, it happens. And is that something that we want to do? I don't think that that's an area that we want to saddle our family with. We don't want to have our family being responsible for something we're leaving behind in that regard. So I'm here today to specifically talk about budgeting. And the reason why that's so important is you want to have money to buy the things that you need instead of spending money on the things that you want. We want all sorts of things. I want all sorts of things. But just because I see it, it's a nice new shiny toy. It's something I should have. It's something I want. But that doesn't mean I need it. And because of that, we're faced every day with having to make decisions on what we need to do, what we want to do, what we have to do, and making decisions on our financing. On so many occasions, we just want to spend the money. Oh, this is new. It came out. Oh, child, I'm getting ready to head to this new movie, so I need to look good. I'm going to a football game, I'm going to a basketball game, I'm going to a party. I need to buy new clothes. You got a closet full of clothes. Why you need to buy more clothes? Really? So, and as a matter of fact, in some cases, we go to places that no one has ever seen you. But you have to have something new. A need or want? That's a question that you have to answer. So, this show today will relatively be short because I just want to just cover the area of just budgeting and what it is to have a budget. So many of us take it for granted about establishing a budget and just making sure we have enough money just to pay our bills. We accumulate the bills, but then we don't do anything about it after we have the bills. So, with that being said, one of the things my wife actually put together was something for our two college kids. We have two daughters that are currently in college. And so she decided to sit down with them. And they're college age, they're 19 years old. And they will hit 20 in July on their next birthday. And she decided to sit down and say, okay, what are you looking to do? And they answered some questions. What do you want to do after you graduate from college? And they answered some questions. But the next thing that she went into were things that they needed to consider now and in preparation for their graduation from college. And I apologize for not having any of this on online where I can share it with you. But if you're interested, then please contact me at Michael J. That's MICHAELJ at jcconnect.net. And that's Michael J. MICHAELJ at jcconnect.net. So please make sure you get in contact with me if you're interested in having this information sent to you. So for college age students, this is one of the things, some of the things that she highlighted, some of the things that she mentioned. The first thing, which is what I just pointed out, you got to create a budget. Now, some of you may ask a legitimate question. What is the budget and how do I really start? The first thing is, how much are you making? That's your very first question. How much money are you bringing in? That's your first question. And as a matter of fact, I can do this. I can put together an arbitrary budget for you and just put it online just to say, okay, this is how to start. If you have no way, no ideas of how to start, then some of the things that you can do, and as a matter of fact, let me go here to Excel, and what I'm going to do is just pull up a template. And in that template, I'm going to request budget. And see what comes up. Well, my budget comes up, but I don't want to show my full business budget because you will say, oh my gosh, and you might wonder what's going on and how do I work around it and how can I get what you got? No. But let's see what comes up here. And this is something that we can easily share, and I will show you online. I don't see anything like what I'm currently using, but let's just pull up the very first thing that comes up and see what it looks like. Sorry about the pause here, but let's go ahead and see what this looks like here. So let's take a look at this. This is just from Excel. And this is something that you could easily pull up on your own. Type into Excel in the search bar, budget. And as you can see here, where it says income, you're making about, let's just say $4,300, but let's just make it even. In a month's time, you're just making $4,000, you're making $1,000 a week. So there you go. You have extra income coming in of maybe let's just even it out, just say $500. So you're making a total of $500 difference. And the numbers that you see here, the numbers that you're seeing on this particular budget may not be adding up because I just literally pulled this off of Excel. And this is something that you can easily use for yourself to just say, let me plan and prepare my own budget. You don't necessarily have to use this, but get something to start your own budget. And once you have something like this generated, you have where you have your income, your projected monthly income, and then your actual income is the same. And so in this column, your projected monthly income and your actually monthly income are exactly the same. So now, how much are you actually spending out? What are your expenses? So you have to live somewhere, right? So here you have let's say, $1,000. Your phone is, even though we know there's more, but let's just say phone is $100. Let's keep the actuals, the projected and actuals the same. Your electricity, and let's just, like I said, let's keep the actual and projected the same. Gas, how much do you spend on gas? And this is just for housing, and let's just say $30 because gas is going to be a little bit more than that. How much are you spending on cable? We all know cable is a little bit more than $34, but a lot of us have actually cut the cable, have actually cut the cord. And if you've cut the cord, then that's good for you. If you have not, then of course your cable bill will be a little bit more than $34. So let's just round that number up to 50. And so let's just put $50 for cable, and make that number 50 as well. Let's see. And next we have waste removal, and let's keep it at 10. Maintenance repairs around the house. Let's say that will average around about $50 as well. And as far as other supplies and whatever that is, that's fine. Entertainment. For entertainment, let's just put $100 easily. Concerts, let's just say, if you're going to any, well, let's not put anything for concerts. We're not going out to any concerts anytime soon. Sporting events, let's just say $100 because of the cost. Live theater, we're not going to any of those, but that cost is $200. Transportation, fuel, let's just say each month, each week, $50. Maintenance on the car, let's just say it may be more, maybe less, but let's just say $50. And if you have out any loans, this is something easily for you to be able to work with. And with this particular form, as you can see, you have your loans, you have insurance that you're paying. You also have taxes, whether you're paying monthly, annual, quarterly, or even annually. This is something, a way for you to be able to track all of your finances here. How much money are you spending on food? And also that great question, are you saving money for yourself for later on? Something that we all must consider. Also, do you have any pets? Are you giving to charity? Do you have anything that you like to do? Now, as I spoke up earlier and said, we all like to look good, right? In the African American community, there is one thing that we always like to do. We always like to look very good. And for the ladies that are out there, we know how you like to get your hair did. And so this is an expense. Only you know how much that costs. We know how much you love your clothes. We know how much you love to have your fingers did. I understand that's not grammatically correct, but it's a correct statement. And we understand those things. So this is a part of your budget here where we talk about personal care, that you must take personal care in making sure you put the correct amounts in here. Not just something that you believe could happen, but the correct amount. Yes, you want to put a projected number in here and also actual. So you know exactly how much you're spending. And then, of course, then the next thing would be your legal costs, if you have any. And hopefully you won't. But then the next thing is the final cost of everything as it works out. Now, next week, what I'll do, I will actually take this document, this personal monthly budget that I was just able to find, and walk through each and every one of the details and just saying, okay, for housing, how much am I spending? Entertainment, how much am I spending? Transportation, do I have any loans? Of course, we all have credit cards. Insurance, taxes, food, savings and investments, pets, gifts, are we giving? Personal care, and any type of legal bills that we may have. Now, going back to the conversation, as I said, my wife talked about with our children, well, two of the four that we have, some of the things that she spoke on. First, get together a budget. As we walk through the budget that I pulled up, the document that shows some of the items that we can discuss and that can be talked about, is in that particular document, everything that you need to put together a budget is right there. And in part 2 on next Monday, even though that's Memorial Day, I will be here. Let's sit down and go into more in-depth conversation about that. But those were some of the things that she talked about. Food, clothing, shelter, transportation. How much do those things cost? Those are your general expenses. But how much are you making? And are you making the amount of money that you need to take care of your expenses and have a savings account and then buy the things that you want? These are things that for you to consider. Next, electronic banking. And this is good for everyone. If you have a way to electronically keep in touch with everything that you're doing, every little thing that you spend your money on, then this is a benefit to you. Because guess what happens? Each month, you can pull down an account of what you're spending money on. Doesn't matter if you're with Chase, Bank of America, Teachers Credit Union, Regents. It doesn't matter your bank or your financial institution. Make sure that, and this is one of the things that we do, we make sure that for everything that we do, all of our credit cards, our regular personal checking account, the business checking account, savings account, we can easily go online and check it like that and have instant information right at our fingertips. And this is one of the things that we all should be able to do. I do know of individuals that will say, I do not and will not get a credit card. Okay. Understand. But when it's time for you to, or if you choose to ever borrow money, then the banks have no type of information in which to base your credit history on. Because more than likely, if you're a business owner, there will come a time where you may have to borrow money to bolster your business or to purchase new equipment. And without having any type of credit background, there's no way for them to be able to say, oh, you're credit worthy, so we will loan you money, and or give you an additional credit card or give you a line of credit. One of the other things that we told our kids is that get you a credit card. Establish your own line of credit. Establish your credit. But make sure that when you get it, you pay it off. Because the more money you build up on your credit card, the more interest that you pay, and the longer it will take to pay off that credit card. Hence the reason why you don't want to put everything on a credit card and then build it up to where you can't pay it off. because now you're paying into the interest instead of the principal. That's another subject for another day, but we will tackle it. We will tackle that, but not today. But you want to make sure that you're paying on what you owe instead of the interest. Then you're in a revolving cycle that may be too hard to get out of. As I said, that's another subject for another day. And then for our kids, since they do not work during school, but they're working during the summer, what are you going to do with those summer earnings? One of my daughters, however, she does work, and she does pretty well, and that's why we sat down, and my wife sat down with them and just said, okay, this is what you need to do, and this is why you need to budget. And they also need to establish some goals. And one was to establish credit, and the other to make sure, and this is something that's very important for everyone, you want to make sure that you contact the credit reporting agencies and pull down a credit report. You want to find out, especially if you have credit, if you have a car, if you didn't pay cash for it, you have a credit history. If you have a house that you borrowed, that you have a mortgage on, you have credit history. Even if you have an apartment, you have a credit history somewhat. But you want to make sure that you establish credit one way or the other, but you want to also make sure you pull down your credit report. Request a credit report from Equifax, TransUnion, and I cannot remember the third one, so I apologize about that. But you want to make sure you get a credit report. And also, especially with you being in college, with those college students that are out there, you want to make sure that you're planning for post-college. For those of you who are on student loans, once you graduate from college, they will give you a small or short grace period. But after that short grace period is over, they will request for you to start paying back your student loans. And the request is not a request. The request is that you start paying back your student loans, unless you start teaching at an institution that will give you forgiveness of those loans. And that's another story for another day. But these are things to truly consider, especially if you're a college student. Now, I was able to pull up some additional information from another location. And these are some of the things that they said. And this information is strictly from Bank of America. And I will give credit because I thought that this was some pretty good information to consider. And they gave 6 items in which they highlighted. And the first item is note what your current income is that you're currently bringing in. And remember when I showed you the budget, that's the first thing that you want to do. You want to include what your income is. If you're only making $500 a week, okay, put that in. You're making $500 a week. If you're making $1,000 a week, $5,000 a week, doesn't matter what it is. You want to make sure that you're including it in there. You're either going to put your monthly, bi-monthly, monthly, bi-monthly, or weekly numbers in, so you know exactly how much you're accruing. Know exactly how much you're making for each paycheck. 1, what your expenses are. 2, and also how much are you saving for yourself. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But also, the second part is track your spending. You go out to McDonald's, you go out to Burger King, you may go out to Sally's to buy hair care products, and also for the guys, I didn't forget you guys, because you too, you like to buy your gaiters, for those who are still buying those, and you also like to get your hair did too. Going to the barber. Make sure you get shaped up right. So you too, guys, you want to make sure you're budgeting for how much you're spending on getting ready to go out to look good. So as I said, you want to make sure that you're tracking your spending. And while you're tracking your spending, everything, every place, everywhere that you are spending your dollars, you want to make sure that information is enclosed. You're buying a Snickers, you're buying gum, you're buying dinner, you're buying whatever. You want to make sure all of those dollars are tracked. And if you're paying for it via your credit card, you want to make sure that that credit card information is pulled down so you can easily see and track, okay, for this month, I spent this much on food. I spent this much on clothing. I spent this much on gas. I spent this much on all of my other expenses. I spent this much on my credit cards. So you know exactly what you're looking at. You don't have any questions. And not only that, but no one can say you get caught off by surprise, because now you're starting to keep track of how much you're making and how much you're spending. Because if your spending is over the top of how much you're making, and what little savings you have, it's not going to amount to much, because your spending habits are still eating into how much you're making. So take that in consideration. Please take that in consideration and make sure your habits are good. And as she said, set your goals. What are your goals? Do you have a goal of saving $50 a month? You want to make short-term and long-term goals. What are your short-term goals? Yeah, you want to save $25 a week. By the end of the year, you want to make sure you save $2,500. You want to put in the bank enough money to be able to save to buy a car. But whatever your goals are, make sure they align with what you're currently making. Because sometimes we can establish some very unrealistic goals, and it comes back to bite us in the butt. Where did my money go? I thought I had saved up for this much. And then all of a sudden you realize that you have not. So track your money and know where your money is going. But as I said, you want to make a plan, and you want to make sure that your plan is well established, written out, so you can follow what it says and you know exactly what it says. As you pass by, as you're getting your coffee, as you're making breakfast, as you're getting ready to lay down, you want to make sure you're always focused on how much money I have, how much money I have saved up, how much money I have to spend. You want to keep all these things in the forefront so this becomes a habit. Every 21 days, if you do it for 21 days, it becomes a habit. So make sure you continue to move forward. And speaking of habits, you want to make sure that you're adjusting your current spending habits, because you've just created your first budget. Now, let me say this. When you establish your budget, this is an organic document. And what I mean by that is that it is forever changing. You will make more money. You will lose money. You will get a couple of job opportunities on the outside of where you work, and then you will make more money. But when you do that, you always have to consider how much money you have. Always have to consider how much money you have, and where does this put you? Because if this puts you in a higher tax bracket, then guess what? Uncle Sam is getting his first. Then you get yours. So So be aware. And lastly, keep checking in. Keep looking at your budget. Keep making sure that you're doing everything that is humanly possible not to overspend, but to save. You don't want to do your own self a disjustice, an injustice, on not adhering to your own plan of checking in to your monthlies, checking in to see how much money you currently have, seeing if any of your credit cards are over your balance, over budget, over everything. This is what you want to be able to do. You must, I repeat, you must keep track of your income. Because if you don't, Uncle Sam will. And I'm quite sure that's not a call you want to have. But you must make sure that you're tracking and you're doing all the right things. So, with that in mind, those 6 things again. How much are you making? Track what you're spending. Set a goal for yourself of how much you want to save and what you're going to do with it. Knowing that, and number 5, knowing that this is a fluid document, you want to make sure you adjust your habits as necessary. And if you have a beautiful dress that you want to buy, or new gaiters, or something new for yourself, budget for that. Save for that. And then once you've saved all of that money, notice how much money that you will have for that rainy day when it comes. So please take all of these things in consideration. And another thing says, calculate your monthly income, pick a budgeting method, and monitor your progress. And it says, try the 50-30-20 rule. And what the 50-30-20 rule is, oh, I'm sorry, I just lost it. Allow up to 50% of your income for needs. Remember I said needs and wants. Leave 30% of your annual income for your wants. And last, commit 20% of your income to savings and debt repayment. Something about that debt. And the first thing that comes to mind, owe no man nothing but love. And that's in Scripture. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's in Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8. And I may be wrong, but owe no man nothing but love. And I can pull it up for you real quick. And as I said, owe no man, let's try it again. Owe no man nothing but love. And when you do that, and it's in Romans 13, verses 8 through 10. So make sure that you take care of yourself. Budget how much money you have. Budget how much money you want to spend. Budget on what you need. Budget for what you want. Because remember, we all like to look good, and we all want to look good for the right reasons. And we all want to save, and we all want to save money for the right reasons. And I've laid out before you a way to do it. I've showed you a budget plan. And next week we're going to go in depth into those budget plans. But we're also going to move into another direction. I will take a look and see some other good topics for us to talk about as we move forward in terms of African Americans and financing, and find out some of the best topics for us to talk about. So, to everyone that's out there today, make sure you've gotten your vaccination. And if you've gotten your vaccination, then this is going to be a beautiful time for you. But until then, I will see you on next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. as we continue the conversation of African Americans and financing, or should I say finances. So make sure you don't go out there and just buy a car just because you want it, making your third or fourth car. But just make sure that everything that you get, everything that you're purchasing, it's for a purpose. Make sure of that. So with that being said, may God bless, and see you next Monday at 5 p.m. God bless.